everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to jump right in and tackle some of the most confusing words in English. You know the ones. They sound alike, they look alike, but they mean totally different things. Stick with me, and I promise, by the end of this, you'll be using them like a pro. Let's get to it. So, does this question make your brain hurt just a little bit? If it does, hey, you are in good company. Imply, inver, affect, affect. These pairs trip up pretty much everyone. But no worries, today we're going to clear up all that confusion with some super simple rules and examples. Okay, first up, let's talk about words that sound exactly the same but have totally different spellings and meanings. These are called homophones, and yeah, they can be real tricksters. We're going to start with a classic. All right, here we go. Principal and principal. Just say them out loud, they're identical, right? And that's exactly where the problem starts. But trust me, once you see the difference, you'll never mix them up again. So here's the breakdown. A principle, ending in LE, is a rule. It's a belief or a standard. But principal means the main thing, or, the head of a school. And here's the best little trick to remember it. The principal of your school is your pal. See? Super simple. Let's keep the ball rolling with our next pair, complement and complement. The difference is literally just one letter, an I versus an E. But wow, that one tiny letter changes the entire meaning. Okay, here's how you get this right every single time. A compliment, with an I, is about praise. Just think, I like your shirt. That's a compliment. But a compliment, with an E, is something that complements a set or enhances something. Like how those shoes perfectly complement that outfit. Now for our next section, we're getting into words that are confusing for a different reason. It's not that they sound alike, it's that their meanings are just really, really close. Getting these right is all about precision. Ah, yes, the all-time classic grammar trap, affect versus effect. This might be the single most common mix-up in the entire language. But don't worry, there's a really straightforward way to keep them separate. So here's the key. Affect, with an A, is almost always a verb. It's the action. For example, the rain affected our plans. But effect with an E is a noun. It's the end result. The rain had a negative effect on our plans. Just remember, A for action, E for end result. Now let's look at a pair that gets confused all the time, especially in more formal or professional situations. Disinterested versus uninterested. It's so easy to think they mean the same thing, but they absolutely do not. This really makes it clear, doesn't it? If you're uninterested, it just means you're bored or you don't care. But if you're disinterested, that means you're neutral, you're impartial. That's why you want a disinterested judge, someone who has no stake in the outcome, and definitely not an uninterested judge who might just fall asleep. All right, on to section 3. And this section is all about beautiful, simple rules. For these next words, you really don't have to memorize a bunch of definitions. You just need one easy guideline to get it right every time. Fewer versus less. This is another one you hear mixed up constantly, but the rule that solves this whole puzzle is incredibly simple. It all boils down to one question. Can you count it? And here is that rule in action. It's this simple. You use fewer for things you can count one by one, like fewer people or fewer dollars. You use less for things you can't count individually, like a mass of something. Less water, less traffic, less time. If you can put a number on it, you probably want fewer. For our final section, we are leveling up to a trio of words where being precise isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential. Using the right word here makes sure your message lands exactly the way you want it to. Okay, let's break down this powerful trio. You assure a person to make them feel confident. You ensure an outcome to make certain it happens. And you insure your property to protect it with, insurance. So think of it this way. One's about feelings, one's about actions, and one's about money. And this sentence just puts it all together perfectly. I assure you, I'm telling you not to worry. We will ensure safety. We're going to take action to make it safe before we insure the equipment, before we call the insurance company. It's a perfect, logical flow. And really, that's the big takeaway from all of this. Choosing the right word isn't just about grammar rules. It's about being clear, being powerful, and being effective. When you say exactly what you mean, your ideas just have so much more impact. So, as we wrap things up, which one of these pairs are you feeling way more confident about? Affect and affect? Fewer and less? Now that you know the simple tricks, you've got the tools to master them. Go out there and communicate with confidence. Thanks so much for joining me.